With a high degree of certainty, we have him.
The name of the suspect is Tyler Robinson.
Tyler Robinson is the suspect in custody.
We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident.
Investigators have now confirmed the shooter's identity, Tyler James Robinson, a 22-year-old man from Washington County, Utah. Robinson was not a student at Utah Valley University and, according to police records, had no prior criminal history, no arrests, no violent incidents, not even a speeding ticket. On paper, he looked like any other young man in a quiet Utah suburb. But those who knew him say there had been a shift in his demeanor over the past 2 years, a turn toward politics, anger, and isolation.
Neighbors describe Robinson as polite but increasingly withdrawn. His parents, active members of a local church, are said to have been deeply troubled by his online activity. According to a family acquaintance, dinner-table conversations in recent months often turned to politics, and Robinson had made pointed comments about Charlie Kirk, reportedly calling him full of hate and accusing him of ruining young minds. These weren't offhand remarks. Friends told investigators Robinson seemed fixated on Kirk's speeches, sharing clips in private Discord chats and mocking him in memes.
And a third unfired case he read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO."
While none of this hinted at imminent violence, it paints a picture of a young man becoming consumed by ideological conflict, more plugged into online battles than real-world relationships. September 10, 2025, began as a typical day on campus at Utah Valley University, until just after noon. At approximately 12:23 p.m., gunfire erupted as Charlie Kirk exited the student union following his speaking event. Multiple students captured the chaos on their phones, the panicked crowd, the scramble for cover, and the shooter fleeing the scene. Within minutes, law enforcement launched a manhunt. The FBI, ATF, and local police swarmed the area, shutting down campus and combing through surveillance footage. By late afternoon, the FBI released still images of a man in a dark hoodie and baseball cap, calling him a person of interest. A $100,000 reward was announced for information leading to his capture. That evening, the investigation took a dramatic turn when Robinson's own family saw the released photos. According to sources close to the case, Robinson's father immediately suspected it was his son. He faced an agonizing choice: protect his child or alert authorities. Family members reportedly tried to contact Robinson directly, urging him to turn himself in. When he didn't, his father made what investigators later described as the most difficult call of his life. He contacted the family's youth pastor, who in turn reached out to the local sheriff's office. This triggered a rapid escalation up the chain to the U.S. Marshals Service, which had joined the manhunt earlier in the day. By 10 p.m. on September 11th, just over 34 hours after the shooting, U.S. Marshals located Robinson at a relative's home on the outskirts of St. George, Utah. He reportedly surrendered without incident. Witnesses say he was calm, almost resigned, as he was taken into custody. The arrest brought a mixture of relief and heartbreak to the community. Law enforcement officials publicly thanked the Robinson family for their cooperation, noting that their decision likely prevented further violence. This family displayed extraordinary courage, one FBI spokesperson said. They made a choice no parent ever wants to make, and they did it because it was the right thing to do. For many watching this story unfold, the image of a father turning in his son has become one of the most haunting elements of this case. It's a reminder that political violence doesn't just claim the lives of its direct victims, it shatters entire families. Robinson's father has not spoken publicly since the arrest, but a family statement released through their church expressed grief for the Kirk family, grief for our own son, and hope that the country can learn from this tragedy. This emotional dimension underscores the human cost of extremism. Tyler Robinson is now facing federal murder and terrorism charges, and if convicted, he could spend the rest of his life in prison. For his parents, there is no victory, only the knowledge that they did the right thing under unbearable circumstances.
As investigators pieced together Tyler Robinson's actions leading up to September 10th, a chilling picture of premeditation began to emerge. What initially appeared to be a spontaneous act of violence now looks like a carefully planned, ideologically motivated assassination. one that Robinson may have been preparing for weeks, if not months. Search warrants executed on Robinson's phone and computer revealed a series of private Discord messages that investigators have described as key evidence. In these exchanges, Robinson discussed retrieving a rifle from a so-called drop point, a remote location outside St. George where he had allegedly hidden the weapon days earlier. Other messages detailed tactical considerations, choosing vantage points, timing the attack to coincide with Kirk's Q&A session, and even mentioning an outfit change to avoid detection after the shooting. Perhaps the most disturbing discovery was Robinson's fixation on symbolism. He wrote to one contact, "If I'm going to do this, it has to make a point, not just another headline, something they can't ignore." This desire to leave a mark, literally, would later be reflected in what investigators found at the scene.
Forensic teams recovered multiple .308 caliber casings from the rooftop of the Losey Center, and what they found shocked even veteran investigators. One fired casing bore the message, "Notices bulges, capital O, what's this?"
Notices bulges, capital OWO, what's this?
The cryptic phrase appears to reference a popular internet meme, blending dark humor with lethal intent. But the unfired casings were even more telling. Two contained engraved messages, "Hey fascist, catch,"
Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch.
and "Bella Ciao," a reference to the Italian resistance song that has become an anthem for anti-fascist movements worldwide.
Oh, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao, Ciao. And a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO."
Experts say this level of personalization is rare and suggest Robinson saw the shooting as an act of political theater, not just violence. "It's performative," said one ATF investigator. "He wanted his message out there. He wanted to be understood, not just feared." Investigators and journalists alike have pointed to Robinson's growing involvement in fringe online spaces over the past 2 years. His Discord logs, combined with activity on X, Twitter, and Reddit, reveal engagement with both left-leaning and anarchist communities. While he never openly pledged allegiance to a particular group, Robinson frequently shared memes about punching Nazis and reposted clips of anti-fascist protests. Analysts caution against overgeneralization, but the evidence suggests Robinson had come to see Kirk as a symbol of authoritarianism, a personification of the enemy. This case highlights a disturbing reality. Ideological radicalization is no longer confined to one political wing. While much media coverage has focused on right-wing extremism in recent years, Robinson's actions are a stark reminder that political violence can emerge from multiple ideological directions, especially when rhetoric becomes absolutist and dehumanizing. Adding another layer to the motive, Turning Point USA released footage from an event just 3 weeks prior where Robinson confronted Kirk during a Prove Me Wrong debate stop in Salt Lake City. In the video, Robinson challenges Kirk's stance on immigration and deportation policies, accusing him of weaponizing fear against the vulnerable. The exchange grew heated, with Kirk responding sharply and the crowd applauding. While there is no direct evidence that this confrontation alone pushed Robinson over the edge, investigators are considering it a potential catalyst event, a moment that may have crystallized his decision to act. Was this shooting purely ideological, or was it personal? Experts say the line is blurry. Dr. Robert Pape, a terrorism researcher at the University of Chicago, has noted that many lone actor attackers are motivated by a mix of personal grievances and political ideology. He said in a CNN interview, "It's rarely just one or the other." In Robinson's case, the engraved casings, Discord planning, and focus on Kirk specifically suggest he was targeting not just a man, but a symbol, the face of a movement he despised. Yet the emotional charge behind his dinner table comments and online posts implies a degree of personal animosity as well. The revelations about Robinson's planning have reignited debate about how online platforms can incubate extremist thinking. Some lawmakers are calling for more aggressive monitoring of private channels like Discord, while civil liberties groups warn against overreach. For now, investigators believe they have enough to pursue charges of first-degree murder, domestic terrorism, and use of a firearm in a crime of violence. The case against Robinson is likely to center not just on what he did, but why, a question that could shape how America understands the threat of political violence moving forward. September 10th began like any other late summer day on the Utah Valley University campus. Students gathered in the quad, some curious, some skeptical, to hear Charlie Kirk deliver his scheduled Turning Point USA talk. By 9 a.m., the crowd had swelled to nearly 250 people, spilling into the walkways near the Losey Center. Kirk, wearing his signature blazer and speaking without a podium, moved casually among the audience. "We welcome disagreement," he told one student holding a sign. Laughter and applause rippled through the group. For 45 minutes, the event proceeded without incident, until 9:17 a.m. Witnesses recalled a sharp crack that at first sounded like a firework. A split second later, Kirk collapsed, clutching his chest. A hush fell over the courtyard before panic erupted. Students screamed, scattering in all directions. Some dropped to the ground, others ran for cover behind benches and planters. The shot had been fired from an elevated position roughly 200 yards away, the rooftop of the Losey Center parking structure. Investigators later confirmed the rifle was positioned behind a ventilation unit, giving the shooter both cover and a clear line of sight. Campus police immediately activated an active shooter alert. By 9:19 a.m., sirens were blaring and first responders were on the scene. Kirk was evacuated by paramedics less than 4 minutes after being hit, transported to Utah Valley Hospital in critical condition.
The chaotic scene was captured on multiple cell phone videos and campus security cameras. One clip shows students diving under folding chairs as staff yell for everyone to get down. Another shows a professor ushering a group of students into a nearby building, locking the doors behind them. Police established a perimeter within minutes, fearing additional shots. SWAT officers moved toward the Lucy Center roof, but by the time they arrived, the shooter was gone. It was only after a 2-hour sweep that investigators made a critical discovery: a Mauser Model 98 rifle, .306 caliber, fitted with a hunting scope, wrapped in a white towel and tucked behind the same ventilation unit believed to be the shooter's position. The Mauser, a bolt-action rifle originally designed for military use, is known for its precision and reliability, a weapon chosen by someone who understood marksmanship. Ballistics later confirmed that the single-fired round had come from this rifle. Beside the rifle lay 3 spent shell casings, 2 engraved with messages investigators would later link to Robinson, and 2 unfired rounds. The rooftop itself became a goldmine for forensic teams. Technicians documented a partial palm print on the rifle stock and a forearm imprint in the dust near the firing position, suggesting the shooter had gone prone to take the shot. Investigators also recovered a distinct shoe print near the rooftop access hatch, later matched to boots found in Robinson's home during a search warrant. Using 3D laser scanning, forensic analysts reconstructed the bullet trajectory, confirming that the shot had traveled in a straight line from the rooftop to the exact location where Kirk was standing. It was a precision shot, one investigator said. Whoever took it knew exactly what they were doing.
In the days following the shooting, the FBI field office in Salt Lake City was inundated with tips, over 11,000 in total. Agents combed through everything from eyewitness reports to social media posts. The key break came from surveillance footage. Cameras positioned around the UVU campus captured a gray Dodge Challenger pulling into a parking lot near the Lucy Center at 8:29 a.m., nearly an hour before the shooting. The driver, wearing a dark hoodie and baseball cap, was seen carrying a long object wrapped in a towel. At 9:18 a.m., just seconds after the shot, another camera caught the same figure sprinting across the rooftop and leaping to an adjacent lower level before disappearing into a wooded area behind campus. Additional footage from a traffic camera showed the Challenger leaving the area at 9:41 a.m., heading northbound toward I-15. Investigators matched the license plate to a vehicle registered to Robinson.
The reconstructed timeline now reads like the climax of a true crime documentary. 8:29 a.m., Challenger arrives on campus. 8:37 a.m., shooter enters Lucy Center, takes elevator to rooftop access. 8:52 a.m., rifle positioned. Shooter lies prone behind ventilation unit. 9 a.m., Kirk begins speaking to crowd. 9:17 a.m., single shot fired striking Kirk. 9:18 a.m., shooter flees rooftop, leaving weapon behind. 9:41 a.m., Challenger departs campus. Each minute accounted for, each piece of evidence pointing to deliberate, calculated action.
Even seasoned law enforcement officials described the scene as haunting. You could feel the fear still hanging in the air, said one first responder. Backpacks and shoes were scattered all over the courtyard. People just ran. In the days after the shooting, UVU students created a makeshift memorial with flowers and candles at the spot where Kirk had fallen. Campus events were suspended for 48 hours as investigators completed their forensic work. In the wake of Tyler Robinson's arrest, America has entered a period of collective reflection. What happened at Utah Valley University was not merely the death of one man. It was, in the words of Utah Governor Spencer Cox, a watershed in American history.
At a press conference held hours after Robinson's arrest, Governor Cox stood before reporters, visibly shaken yet resolute. This was not just an attack on Charlie Kirk, he said. This was an attack on the American experiment, on the idea that we can disagree passionately, but resolve those disagreements peacefully. We must decide right now whether this marks the end of a dark chapter or the beginning of a darker one. Cox called on Utahns and all Americans to reject political violence and reaffirm the principles of civil discourse. Words are not violence, he said. Violence is violence. When people stop talking, that's when you get moments like this. His remarks resonated beyond Utah, sparking op-eds and TV segments that asked whether America could dial back its polarization before more tragedies unfold.